Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about increasing your lap times by being more consistent and introducing a few game mechanics that you may or may not have already known about. I've suggested these techniques to many of my friends and the people who watch my streams, and I've had one person tell me that this tip didn't help. The first thing I like to start off with is switching to manual shifting. You can do this by going into your settings, controller settings, and then by selecting default manual. Um, I don't think the game mechanics are properly made to know like the exact moments you need to shift, and that's not something you can rely on if it's inconsistent as it is. But by playing the game more and more, you'll know what gear you need to be in to hit certain jumps. Since the game doesn't know, it could be a reason why your lap times haven't improved after a lot of practice while using the automatic. I don't find any reason to be above fourth gear on any track unless you're doing the waypoints or free ride. Typically, I never get out of third gear on the Supercross tracks, which is pretty much the same way if you're doing Supercross in real life. I think one of the most important factors in this game is the ability to use the clutch. Knowing when to use it and how to use it are huge parts of putting together a really fast lap. What I found works for me is when using it in and out of corners, landing off of jumps, and I also use it for power shifting. And in the tutorial, it even tells you it's not effective to spam it, but I feel like a lot of people try it anyways, and they don't really realize what they're doing. But you can see whenever I go through rhythm sections, I pull it in between every jump I hit, and I use it in almost every corner, because what I found based off of my abilities is when you're not accelerating while using the clutch, the chances of sliding out in the corners are a lot slimmer. One of the harder techniques that is I found almost impossible to get consistent doing is wheeling over the faces of jumps. What this does is it prevents a ridiculous amount of hang time, because on tracks like Atlanta with like huge triples, you're in there for a pretty long time and it really increases your lap time. You can see me doing it a couple times while going over the finish line. If you don't really understand what's happening, you can just look up Mad Skills MX on any mobile device and watch some of the faster riders on there, because it's pretty much the same thing whenever they're going over faces of huge jumps. I think many people have problems using the right stick to lean, and how using it effectively could as well result in a faster lap time. It was pretty much useless in the other MX versus ATV titles to use it other than leaning back. But if you learn how to use it correctly by practicing, it'll really help with your cornering and your positioning on the track. And with that being said, you could also hit faster lines and you'd be set up for cornering a little bit better with better positioning. The last technique I'll talk about today is the whip split. Basically, what it is if you're trying to launch over a huge line in a rhythm section, when you max out your preload meter, you'll only go so far, but by whipping the bike after you preload, it can make you go even further. I'm not exactly sure how it works yet, but if you ever watch me, I tend to wiggle my bike in the air sometimes, and that usually has had the same effect on me as if you're just whipping. The last tip I have for this video is trying to be more consistent by knowing the lines before you hit them. A lot of people have problems with their consistency and staying on the track, or just by simply hitting tough blocks. The majority of this time just happens in corners, so my little tip to prevent that is slowing down more. So it's pretty much like it's pretty much like an investment, because if you're hitting the corner really fast and going off the track, it's a lot slower than just by slowing down a little more than you usually do, just to make sure you're staying on the track, staying intact, and not hitting any tough blocks. But until you have like enough trust in your leaning abilities to not go off the track or run into a bunch of tough blocks, then that'd be the best option to not ruin your lap or give up your lead during the middle of a race. But I hope all this has helped. Um, I'd love some feedback in the comment section. If you guys are enjoying these tips and tricks or tutorials or whatever, then feel free to drop a like and subscribe. But I'll catch you guys out in the chat. You guys have a good day.